This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Chase Edgelow. He is the co-founder and CEO of EverGen Infrastructure Corp. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is EVGN on the TSX Venture. And EverGen will be presenting at the upcoming SNN.Network Canada virtual event happening December 7th through 9, 2021. To register, please go to canada.snn.network. With that, Chase, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for having me. Doing well, thanks.
It's great to have you on. So this is our first time doing an interview together. So I'd love to start off with a quick overview and history of EverGen, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, great. So EverGen's a company that we founded almost 2 years ago with a view to really focus on one element of the renewable energy world, and that is taking organic waste and converting it into a usable product in the form of renewable natural gas. So we are an infrastructure company. We build, own, acquire, and operate renewable natural gas infrastructure projects across Canada. We are currently owners of 3 facilities, 3 projects based in British Columbia. These facilities take organic waste in, whether it's your green bin waste from behind your house that the municipalities bring us, agricultural waste, or commercial food waste. We take in all 3 types of waste, and with a view that we will produce renewable natural gas from all 3 facilities over the long term. And we produce that gas into the local gas grid. So our customers are utilities that sign up 20-year long-term contracted annual reoccurring revenue contracts for us.
Very good. So quick follow-up to that. Listen, I'm sorry, this is one of the questions I didn't have for you, but quick follow-up. What's some of your criteria for assessing a potential project to bring into the portfolio? And then how did you come up with this idea of the growth through acquisition strategy in this market? I mean, I joked with you offline how Canada should rename the slogan should be growth through acquisition, but here's another new one that I had no idea existed.
Sure. So I think in terms of the opportunity in the space, really what we saw was an ability to infratize what was going on in the sector in Canada. If you look south of the border, there's been a tremendous amount of infrastructure built, and companies that have listed and gone public in the last 12 months focused on renewable natural gas, with very few sort of similar entities here in Canada. So we saw this opportunity where you had contracted revenue on the gas sales side, you have contracts on the waste side, and really it's the perfect infrastructure asset. What we saw a similarity to was really the renewable infrastructure operators that were built and grew out of the same opportunity on the electrical grid side. So these are the Northland Powers, Interjexes, Boralexes, all of these companies that turned into multi-billion-dollar entities consolidating renewable power assets. We're doing the same thing on the gas side of the grid. So we look for projects that have low risk in terms of the contracted nature of their cash flows. We look for projects that are in regions where there's an ability to tie them into the pipeline network. And ultimately, we try to do this through partnerships. So we've acquired 3 facilities to date in the first 6 months of 2021, and proceeded with our IPO following that. And we believe we can continue with that pace, go forward. And in all 3 of those acquisitions, we ended up having the vendors take back shares. So part of the model for us is partnering with existing owners of the assets and bringing capital and technical expertise, and also being able to leverage off of their history with the assets.
Very good. So then what would you say makes EverGen unique and different compared to some of your peers out there? I mean, has this strategy been tried before in the renewable natural gas sector?
So I don't think it's necessarily the strategy that sets us apart. It's our team, our approach, the idea of sort of acquiring and consolidating, I think is out there in every industry. I think what we bring to the table is we have a dedicated source of capital that we've raised through our IPO and through our ongoing efforts with the company to dedicate to this space. And there isn't really that dedicated source of capital in Canada. You have a mix of smaller private business owners that are trying to get these projects off the ground themselves. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have large infrastructure funds that want to deploy hundreds of $1 million of capital at a time. Our projects are right in the middle of that. They're $30 to $50 million projects. And there isn't that beholden source of capital for that size and scale of project. And also the technical understanding. Our team has done over 80 projects across the world. Sean Mezzi, our COO, has spent approximately 5 years south of the border looking at what works and what doesn't work in the sector. So I think a lot of investors in these assets fall down because they don't understand how to risk projects appropriately. And that's where we come in.
Sounds good. By the way, you keep saying south of the border. I love that you're referring to the U.S. when you say south of the border. I've never referred to it south of the border, so I love that. This actually leads perfectly into my next question on management and the team here at EverGen. But so I would love to know your background as co-founder, CEO. What were you doing prior to founding EverGen?
So I spent over a decade at Macquarie Group, and Macquarie is one of the world's largest infrastructure investors. Prior to that, I was in the energy space. I was at a larger national oil and gas company putting in oil and gas infrastructure in Northeast BC. So it's actually interesting to come full circle. I was an engineer by background, so building and installing natural gas infrastructure in the traditional world. And today, now doing it in the renewable world, it's in the same province is the part that's unique. The other people on the team, I think we've got a core group of founders. We founded the company together. That includes myself, our president, Misha Zapman, who's a lawyer by background. So when we talk about M&A, he comes from a background of doing multi-billion-dollar transactions over his career, and also growing companies, listed companies, and really understands the capital markets as well. So we're a great partnership. Sean Mezzi, our COO, is a technical expert in the space. He's built a team around him from existing RNG operators down to project developers. And that's really what sets us apart. It allows us to pick apart acquisition targets, partnership targets, and then build the facilities once we have them under our platform.
Very good. All right. So to close us out here today, from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now going into 2022?
So we have two projects that we raised about $20 million through our IPO to develop. That's Fraser Valley Biogas, which is an existing renewable natural gas facility, has been producing into Fortis's network for over a decade. And we're revitalizing that project. We're investing significant capital to increase the production capacity of that facility. And then neighboring that project at Net Zero Waste Abbotsford, we're putting in natural gas capture infrastructure. And we've already got a contract with Fortis BC for that development. So between those two projects, that's our real focus. We'll be producing close to 360,000 gigajoules per day once those projects are fully constructed. And they'll be fully up and running in 2023. We then have a goal to produce close to 1 million gigajoules per year. And the contracted rate for gas, we're seeing average pricing around $25 a gigajoule. So that's $25 million of annual reoccurring revenue. And then in addition to that, we get paid to take waste on the front end. And that's usually about 50% of our revenue. So that's another $25 million of revenue. So that $50 million revenue target is where we're headed. We're EBITDA positive today, and our EBITDA margins are around 60%.
Very good. So with that, Chase, where can our audience go and find more information on EverGen?
Best place would be to visit our website, EverGenInfra.com, and happy to answer any questions that your audience might have.
All right. Well, Chase, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Great. Thanks, Robert.